G'day you mob, welcome to this episode of the Goss on Aussie English. I'm your host Pete and I'm about to have a chat with my old man, with my father Ian Smissen. So today's story is an interesting one, guys. It is about some incredibly intelligent parrots and having a bit of a foul mouth, right? Swearing a bit too much, and what happened when they were seen to be doing this at a public location. I think it's a zoo. So anyway, guys, I've been dividing these episodes up as you asked to make shorter, punchier episodes that you can listen to multiple times. I hope you enjoy them, but also don't forget to go and check out the other episodes on the website, aussieenglish.com.au, and make sure to sign up so that you can get the other special Goss episodes as well. All the full videos, the full episodes, the transcripts, everything like that. Anyway, without any further ado, guys, smack the bird. Let's get into it. Far up. What's the next story, Dad?
You sent me this one, so I don't know what you want to do with this. The African grey parrots in the wildlife park in Lincolnshire in England, who had to be separated and moved because they were swearing at visitors.
Yeah, I think you may have caught me where I saw a news story on this, found the article, sent it to you with the hopes of reading it, and then forgot totally about it.
All
so
right.
I'm glad that you brought it up.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so yeah, you led me down this toilet.
I know the basics. So these are African grey parrots.
African grey parrots, the smartest birds in the world, arguably the smartest animals other than humans, and some humans probably.
These are the parrots that you're going to see at zoos or on TV, or potentially at tourist attractions around the place, where they can count, they can learn 150 words. Yeah. They tend to be able to solve puzzles. They're really, really clever.
They're seriously smart.
But is it intelligence in that it's problem solving and interactions where they consciously understand and follow what's going on, or are they just rote learning something and then just this is the answer?
No, it's A, it's B, it's A. Intelligent. I've seen some of them. Now, some of it is just rote learning, and I've seen some really clever ones. And there's a bird sanctuary, a bird park in Singapore, the Jurong Bird Park, where they have a daily bird show, and one of those acts in the show is an African grey parrot that they bring out. And this is just clearly learned behaviour, but they'll ask it to count backwards from 10, and it'll go 10, 9, 8. Now in Mandarin, and I can't count in Mandarin, and it'll keep going, and sing the national anthem. So it sings the Singaporean national anthem, and so this is not just learning a few words and things, but I've also seen some. I've seen one where with a psychologist, an animal psychologist, testing its cognitive behaviour, not just its learned behaviour, and giving them a puzzle to do with, here are three shapes, a triangle, a circle and a square, and they're red, blue and green.
Yeah, I've seen this.
And it'll say, show me the square, and it'll pick up the square.
Or it'll say, what colour's the square?
What colour's the square? Blue.
Blue, yeah.
Pick up the green one. No green.
Yeah.
There's no green one.
Yeah.
So they are able to intellectually, and they have some cognitive ability. Anyway, so these parrots, 5 of them, and apparently they were recent additions to this wildlife park. And the wildlife park apparently has, because parrots live a long time, they tend to be somewhere on the assertive to aggressive line. So I think the way they interact with some people, and they get picked up as pets, but they live a long time. They sometimes are difficult to handle, and particularly things like African grey parrots, because they can talk. I'm sure that a lot of people just go, I can't have this in my house any longer. And so
it seemed like a good idea at the time.
This wildlife park has a reputation for taking parrots, and apparently they've taken, they take 1 or 2 a week or something, and they've taken a huge number since COVID started, because people have got to be at home with their bloody parrots swearing at them. And so they took these 5 and they had them in the same enclosure. And apparently every time somebody walked past them, they would just swear at them, which most people thought was funny. And most people, being who they are, will swear back at them, which just encourages them, and they learn more swear words. Well, that was apparently what they were doing. Everybody would walk over and go, F off. Pardon me?
You F off.
Yeah, no, you exactly. So they had to move them because they didn't get any complaints. Funnily enough, they didn't get any complaints from the
They
public.
got more visitors.
But they were
Everyone was just coming to
everybody
see
wanted to
them.
queue up and get sworn at. But they just were a bit concerned about having children learning how to swear from the Parrots. So,
Wasn't that
sorry, I put my
you had a
headset
story something like
I
that, right?
did, and I have to use the full language for this one
Oh,
because
man,
it
go
just
to
doesn't
town.
make any
Go to
sense.
town.
There used to be a pub in Carlton, which is an inner suburb of Melbourne, right next to the University of Melbourne, where both Pete and his sister and his mother and I all studied. When I was an undergraduate student in the 1970s, there was a pub close by within walking distance that used to be this. It was almost like just a little single-fronted building with a bar, and it probably had a couple of bedrooms historically, which were probably offices by the time it was a pub there. So it was a small bar, but it was in an old building that didn't have an indoor toilet or bathroom, so you had to walk down the laneway to get to this toilet. And the first time I went there, and this is 10 o'clock closing time as well, so pubs weren't open until midnight or 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So it must have been about 9 o'clock at night, and I'd had a couple of drinks. And so I decided it's time to go to the toilet. And I'm staggering down this little laneway. It's a little cobbled laneway to get to the back, the toilets, which are outdoors at the back of this thing. And I'm halfway down this little dark lane, and I hear this, "Fuck off, you bastard!" And it's this sulphur-crested cockatoo that apparently it used to sit in the bar, and I never remembered it in the bar. But it used to sit in the bar, but people would come up, as you do, and everybody uses the cockatoo accent. Australians who just know that cockatoos, well, you say hello to a cockatoo. You don't go up and say, "Hello, cocky." You go, "Hello, cocky." And the cockatoo would say, "Fuck off, you bastard." And so
Jesus.
they had to remove it. They were told that they couldn't keep it in the bar. So these animals, and they know it's funny because they get a reaction. Now,
Exactly.
clearly, I couldn't tell you whether sulphur-crested cockatoos are smart enough to know that what they are saying is inappropriate. But they know they get a reaction.
Well, it's like kids, right? The same reason kids would swear or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not because they understand what's happening, but they understand that when I do this, parents suddenly have to give me a lot of
Yes.
attention, whether positive or negative. But you had another story, didn't you, about a restaurant, sort of in the similar vein, but not about parrots, but a woman.
Little old lady.
Yeah, tell this story. This is a classic.
Yeah, this is one in Fitzroy. And again, undergraduate student at university where you go off and you try and find good quality food that was cheap.
Yep. Nothing changed.
Nothing
When I was there, it was the same thing.
University students are the same all round.
And the word spreads like
the word
wildfire.
spreads. And there was this little Italian restaurant, little family-run Italian restaurant in Fitzroy. It didn't last very long, and I don't know whether it was because of the story I'm about to tell you, but you would walk in there, again, single-fronted shop, would probably hold maybe 30 people, and you'd walk in the front door, and this little old lady dressed all in black, and she must have stood, and this is not going to make sense for people who are listening to
say
this.
it's a sight gag.
Yeah, it's a sight gag. She must have been about this tall, like under 5 foot tall, under 1.5 meters tall, grey hair, and she didn't speak much English, which was quite apparent as soon as you walked in. That the English she did speak was mostly inappropriate.
Enough to get by.
And you'd
Especially in
walk in,
Australia.
and she'd be very polite when you walked in, and she said, "Hello. We'd like a table for 6 of us, 6 students. We'd like a table of 6. Sit where you fucking like." Excuse me. And I to this day, I'm sure she didn't actually know what she's done. I'm sure her grandchildren taught her that. And then you come in and you sit down, and the kids would come out, and they'd bring out, there'd be 6 plates, 6 knives. None of them would match. But they brought out these bowls of food with this pasta and meatballs and these pasta sauces, which were just brilliant. And it cost you $5 plus a drink, and it was fantastic. But sit where you fucking like.
It is funny learning to swear in a foreign language because, and I'm sure there are linguistic and psychological studies that have been done, the same parts of the brain that you get triggered with natural swearing in your own language don't get triggered.
Yeah.
So that happens with me in Portuguese all the time. Even when I'm around Kel, she'll swear and I'm like, okay, all right, so this is the norm. And then I'll use the same thing, at least where I think it's appropriate. And she'll be like, whoa. Too far. Yeah. And you'll be like, what? You said it like 2 minutes ago. So it is funny how it doesn't trigger the same part of your brain, right? You don't know. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Me and Noah, he's here as well, smacking the microphone with his spoon. That was another episode of The Goss. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get access to all of the Goss episodes, the transcripts, the MP3s, the videos, the entire episodes from 1 to, I think we're up to like 40-something now. Yeah, that's it, mate. just go to aussieenglish.com.au and you can sign up for those. Anyway, I'm Pete, your host. This has been another Aussie English episode. It's a pleasure, and I'll see you soon.